So with that, let's go into the 1-2-3 inning. Let's talk about the All-Star game, Dalton. So it's the rosters came out. I mean, they're loaded just like they usually are, and all of the expected names are there. I don't think anybody really expected much different. But who do you think right now? Everybody kind of has the debate of who gets snubbed. Dalton, what do you think? Who do you think got snubbed from the All-Star game this year? What do you make of all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think there are some players that MLB made a business decision to put into the game, and I think that's fun. Like Paul Skeens being there, awesome, right? Ellie De La Cruz, fun, right? There'll be a lot of fun factor, which is cool.
Certainly.
I do think, I want to point to two players in the National League and one in the American League that I think should be there, and I think will end up being there once we start, having some players not being able to go. But Francisco Lindor is by far the biggest snub. And you know that I am not a Mets guy. So the fact that I'm saying that, I mean it. This guy is a top 10 offensive player in baseball in terms of WAR this year. Like, he's just been really good. And I get that, like, the numbers aren't flashy. The 12 homers, batting average in the mid-200s. But guy steals bases. He draws walks. He's just been a really good player. And like the all-around game, I think doesn't get enough credit because the contract is so big and gaudy. And when he, the thing about Mets fans, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. When the team's underperforming or a player's underperforming, they want you to know that they're like the most tortured fan base, and they want you to feel so sorry for them. And there's just a lot of bitching and moaning that's gone on about Lindor, but like quietly, he's still a damn good player. And so I think Lindor really should be in the game. I also think Gavin Stone of the Dodgers should be in the game. And I won't go too much deeper on this because I talked about it on last week or 2 weeks ago. Guy put up a 1.97 ERA in May and a 1.97 ERA in June while pitching for one of the best teams in baseball and starting every fifth day. Like, I just don't know if that's not good enough as a starting pitcher to make the All-Star game. Like, I just don't really know what is at that point, especially given the fact that, like, since Paul Skeens has been called up, Gavin Stone's numbers are better. I mean, it's just the truth. I get why Skeens is there. I think both Stone and Lindor will end up on the team before it's all said and done, but I think they both deserve the initial nod. I'll give you my AL name, and then I want to hear yours. American League, for me, the biggest snub, Andres Munoz, reliever from the Seattle Mariners. I mean, he's been lights out. Like, let me just put it in this type of context. First place team in their division. Closer is 14 of 16 on saves with a 1.50 ERA, 43 strikeouts in 34 innings pitched, 175 batting average against. And he's a closer on a first place team. Like, when is that ever not an all-star?
Yeah.
So look, the other thing about Munoz, too, it's not like we're talking about some guy with, like, shitty stuff where it's just like, he's not that aesthetically pleasing. No, Munoz is nasty.
Yeah.
He throws fucking fire. So, I think Andres Munoz should be in the game. The reality is all these guys probably will end up in the game, which I think is a good thing. People will bitch about, like, well, if everybody's an all-star, what does it really mean? Stop. Everybody's not an all-star. Guys that are there have earned it. Let's let them enjoy it. Let's have fun with it. And you're going to hear that message from me probably more than once. Like, All-Star Week is about enjoying it and having fun with it more than anything else.
Yeah.
But those are my three: Lindor, Stone, and Munoz.
Yeah, I know that Met fans are really kind of pissed that not only did Francisco Lindor not make the All-Star team, but neither did Brandon Nimmo. That was another guy they really, really wanted in there. Francisco Lindor, I think people kind of need to, like, when you put it into perspective, like, I don't disagree. I mean, Francisco Lindor, I think I forget when he started hitting in the leadoff spot, but since he's been hitting in the leadoff spot, he's been unbelievable. But before then, Lindor was treacherous to begin the year. So I think that, I would imagine that plays into some of those decisions, but I don't disagree. I mean, I think Lindor, you're talking about one of the best offensive shortstops at the position. He's one of the, better shortstops in the game at the moment, even on, and he's only 30. I mean, you kind of think that he's like getting up there in age. He's really kind of not. Like he's still a relatively.
Some of what it is, Mike, is it's that having a fan vote. I understand why MLB views it as an important thing, so I'm not going to sit here and be like abolish the fan vote. But the problem with it is that fan perception always lags behind reality. Like, because not all fans can be expected to be hyper plugged in all the time. So usually their perception of a player is based off of like what happened 4 to 6 weeks ago, for example.
Yeah.
And I think Lindor is a guy that's a little bit of a victim of that because a narrative grew around him really loudly that like this dude's not worth his contract. Lindor's a bum, and it's like nah. He put it together. He put it together, and so I think he's kind of fallen. I think it'll be rectified, but I just want to make that point.
Yeah, no, and I think you're right about that. So here, let's dive into mine. So, I think it's kind of funny when you brought up, like Oakland A's that are like you just don't see them winning awards, right? Like I picked Mason Miller for my Rookie of the Year last week, and you were just like, I don't know, I don't see them giving it to like one of the guys that pitches for one of the worst teams in baseball. What about Brent Rooker not making the All-Star team? That guy's OPS is like nearly 900, and how many guys in baseball at the moment can we honestly say, and I don't even know, how many guys in baseball can we honestly say is putting up production like he is on a team that is as piss poor as him to where he's really the only guy you have to pitch to or you have to pitch around? Like, that dude's knocking 18 home runs, and I understand that he's not like a defensive monster. I get that, but who gives a shit? Like his OPS is 891. He's I don't, that to me I think is mind-boggling. How you can have a guy that has an OPS over nearly 900 and you're not throwing him in. And I can say kind of the same thing about Christian Walker. Is I think Christian Walker is another one of these guys that I think probably should be in there as well. OPS 853. He's got 22 big boys. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of, and the batting average is, it's not like he's hitting 210. He's hitting 270. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's striking out 1,000 times and hitting a bunch of bombs. Like that's not really what Christian Walker is. And he's a good defensive first baseman. So I'm not really, those are two for me. I only came prepared with two, and I threw a homer into Luis Heel, by the way, because just like, and listen, I understand that like, his previous 2 or 3 starts before this last one against Boston really kind of knocked him off the map. He really got knocked around, and I understand that. And I think that kind of plays a role into just that's what like 2 really bad outings can really do for you. But like, I don't know. I love the guy, and I think he really kind of shoved it up the voters' ass with this, this start against Boston where he kind of looked like his old self. So there you go. That's mine.
I agree with all of them. Rooker's been awesome. Again, like the nice thing is I think all these guys will end up getting but Rooker has been awesome. I mean, 18 home runs, 54 RBIs, 278. I mean, you touched on it. He's been great. So no argument there. With Christian Walker, just for those of you who don't follow the Dodgers Diamondbacks series, one of the more absurd things like that I've ever seen is what Christian Walker does when he plays at Dodger Stadium. In his career at Dodger Stadium, he has started at first base for the Diamondbacks 34 times. Christian Walker has 19 home runs at Dodger Stadium. Like, I just want to kind of
version of Rafi Devers. What do you want?
I kind of just want to let that sit, right? I mean, we're talking like we're talking about a guy who's hitting a home run in more than half of his starts at Dodger Stadium. Like if he played 162 game season at Dodger Stadium at this rate, he'd hit 90 homers. It's stupid. And
Dumb numbers.
I mean, he hit like 4 of them this last week too. But I'm so tired of him coming to them because, like, don't get me wrong, Christian Walker's a very solid player. He's a great defender. He's a solid hitter. I don't think anybody thinks he's like great, but he's solid. He's all-star worthy, I would say. But dude, when he plays at Dodger Stadium, I mean, it's modern day Babe Ruth, like we were saying about Devers at Yankee Stadium. It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. So no respect for Luis Seal, huh? He's out. That's what you're telling me.
No. I told you I agree with all three.
There you go. See?
I mean, look, Heel's still what 9-5 with a 3.27. I mean, that's that in the Yankees rotation, and no, he's been great. And I think, look, I was really happy to see how he pitched last night. Like, that was good.
Yeah.
To see him bounce back and kind of look like himself. I hope he continues that. I like the kid. So no, I think Luis Seal should be there, and I think he will.
Yeah, that was a pissed off kind of start, I think, that you got from him. Like, I'm kind of tired of getting knocked around, so I'm just gonna throw 100. And like, I don't know. I didn't think that you were getting the ball from him very easy last night.